The problems of obtaining water in much of Africa have become the stuff of legend. The lot of finding water for the family has fallen to the women, who in many areas of the continent spend much of their waking hours in the search of water and often must make do with dangerous, unhygienic sources which they use for all domestic purposes. In the Gambia and the other 8 member countries of the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel, better known by its French acronym SILS, the European Commission has for many years been providing funds for the sinking of boreholes and the provision of solar-powered pumps to bring water to rural communities.
The program has been successful in that it was able to construct 30 new solar-powered systems and also upgraded 25 additional ones. In addition, the program also assisted in building capacity in the water sector. Now that the program, the second phase, RSP2, has just ended, our plans in the future is to seek for an extension of this program. Because the program has been quite invaluable in contributing to our water sector needs, i.e. ensuring that we have safe drinking water to the entire population by 2020.
Well ahead of that target date, these systems have already dramatically transformed the lives of the villagers, taking the drudgery out of the lives of women, and improved the health of communities by bringing clean, potable water for all domestic purposes. We have found you in the town of Kuntaur fetching water from the tap. What does this standpipe mean for the community of Kuntaur?
This standpipe means a lot to our community. It has broken our dependence on the water from the river. At the times of the year when salt water from the ozone made the river water undrinkable, we used to trek to villages in the interior to fetch our drinking water and transport it to Kuntaur on animal-drawn carts. So pipe water has really changed our lives.
You can wash your clothes when you want, draw clean drinking water, and wash your child. We have become even healthier than before. Now, anybody who has ever needed a wash is clean and neat.
Has your system ever needed maintenance?
That has been a rare happening. Whenever we have gone short of water, it has mostly been that the sky was overcast and cloudy, or that the storage tank was being washed and cleaned.
Before the installation of this water system here, a dire situation of water shortage existed. We drew water from wells which sometimes ran dry. But since the commissioning of this system, fetching water has become easy. The water is clean and health-giving compared to the water we used to get from the wells, which was always impure and needed to be filtered before we could use it. But Allah has helped us, and with these taps, our health is protected and there has been a complete transformation from the past.
To ensure the sustainability of the village systems and keep them in good working order at all times, the Department of Water Resources, the communities, and local solar technology companies have devised a system of signing contracts with communities which provide for the collection of funds from charges levied on the consumption of water. These sums are used for the maintenance of the systems.
What we have in terms of the maintenance contract for the communities is, it's like an insurance for maintenance. So during the course of the 5-year period, when the contractor goes to the communities, their charge per volume is $1 say, $2 say, 10 bututs per cubic meter. 10% of this amount is left with the village water committee for their own encouragement or institutional arrangement. They know how to spend it. 30% of this amount is saved into a maintenance account for all the communities, and 60% goes to the contractor for the cost, the running cost. And what is happening right now is that if you make an analysis of all the communities, they are losing in smaller communities and gaining in bigger communities because of the volume. Smaller communities are not consuming a lot of water. So if you look at the amount of money that the contractor spends to go to these places and the overhead cost of his staff and others, when you do that analysis, he would lose here and gain here. But I think in terms of insurance, it is good for the communities. And we are keeping this 30% for all of them. In the event that there is no more contract and there is a major breakdown, which is very exorbitant, we can easily tap from that money and then make a repair.
The contract system has been in use for some time now with mixed results. In many areas, it has worked with great success and to the satisfaction of communities and contractors alike. In others, difficulties in getting communities to pay for services have strained relations among partners.
There are several villages that are not paying, and in the contract it is possible to shut them down, but that has not come to that point because that is of course the last thing we want to do. But if you look at it in the combos, if you don't pay your bill, you may be shut down. So, but in the rural areas, people get away with that up to now. We are still trying to find a solution to that, but I can tell you that there is quite an outstanding amount that we have not received. That was also not received by the maintenance fund. It is also affected. And it has to be realized that the maintenance fund is very important for the future, after the 5 years of the warranty period. Then any costs that are incurred for the systems, and that can be likely more than in the beginning when the systems are new, have to come from the maintenance fund. So if you don't pay your bill, then the maintenance fund is also not accumulating, and there's going to be a problem sooner or later.
We would rather return to the old days than accept the maintenance contract that Gamsola wants to impose on us. If our system breaks down today, we could have it fixed the next day because we have money to do that. But to say to us, if your system breaks down at 1 p.m. on Friday, we cannot come to fix it, and nobody should touch it. On Saturday, we also cannot come, nor can we come on Sunday. Is that fair? Where are we supposed to get our drinking water from during that time? Furthermore, one of the terms of the contract says that if the village minder of the system raises a false, even though unwitting maintenance alarm which brings Gamsola engineers to the site, the community will pay a penalty of $2,500. By contrast, if the company cannot respond to our call for maintenance within 72 hours, then they will be liable to a penalty of only $250. Is this fair? A genuine mistake on the part of one not so knowledgeable attracts a whopping $2,500 fine, whereas those who leave a whole community without water for 3 days pay only $250.
We have seen 1 or 2 places where complaints have been lodged against the maintenance contractor. That one, because in the contract they signed with the communities, there is a clause that says when the community has a breakdown and they call you within 72 hours, you should be able to respond to their request. So if a community is not able to do this, if the maintenance contractor is not able to respond to this demand, well, I think the community has a right to be able to hire somebody to be able to do something, the maintenance, because they cannot sit down and wait for somebody who is not willing to come to their assistance immediately. Because, like, water is life. You cannot go without water. And majority of these villages that have these solar systems had already forgotten their hand dug wells. They've already buried them long since. So that's the only system they are depending on. So if they have the breakdown, they need to be fixed urgently.
What we want is for the government and the Department of Water Resources to leave us free to find competent maintenance engineers whom we can reach agreement with and who would respond to our call whenever we make it. This is what we want.
Ownership lies with the communities. We are here to facilitate, to provide the necessary support. Government rallies for financial and technical support. We mobilize resources, implement programs and projects. Infrastructure, we hand it over to the communities. It is their infrastructure, it is their property. That is why the maintenance and operation and maintenance, it's under their purview. We are only here to facilitate, and that is why we also ensure that we guarantee the service delivery of the private sector.
We are much obliged to the government, but would like to tell them that one of the requirements of the GAM Solar contract is that we participate in the collective maintenance fund, where you bring together people from Nyomi, who always do what they say, and those from Badibu and Jara. We said to them, we will not contribute our money to this fund. It is possible that a community in Jara may not even need maintenance, but can claim from the fund. The Wolofs say, keep what you own to yourself. We do not agree with the idea of putting money in a fund for others to spend.
This is the case even with government. If you look at the rates and taxes that have been collected, in smaller communities they pay less. In big communities they pay more. So in other words, the big communities are paying for the smaller communities. That's the same system we want to. By the way, there was a study that was conducted on this payment modality, and currently the ministry is trying to put that report as a cabinet paper, and so that we have a payment policy, all right? So that's already underway. So, but like you say, I agree, big communities should subsidize for smaller communities, and that's the essence. And even at UN, I think countries like America is paying for services that they don't even require, and people like us here are benefiting. So,
another prerequisite for the overall success of the rural water supply program is the existence of a pool of technology firms capable of assuring technical backup and the provision of spares and expert maintenance at all times. One of the broad aims of the entire SILS regional solar program is the creation in the member countries of an enabling environment in which indigenous solar technology provision infrastructures can flourish. The Gambia Department of Water Resources can point to spectacular success in this direction.
There was a regional study that was done in the early days of the program, and then one of the recommendations of that study was for each country to try and set up an association of the local private sector in solar. And in the Gambia here, we have already succeeded in doing that some 3 years ago. And the association is called the Renewable Energy Association of the Gambia. These are all members, companies that are in the solar sector.
One of these, the GAM Solar Company, already has a number of contracts with villages around the country operating solar water supply systems. The company also recently commissioned an advanced solar power supply system for Suleiman Junkung Hospital in Buyam.
We are requested by the hospital authorities to look at a solution for their energy problem. And we came here and we surveyed the whole hospital. And based on the survey that we conducted here, then we made a software analysis and then make a design. This is a tracking system. It tracks the sun. It follows the sun from the morning until sunset. The advantage of a tracking system is that it gives 40% more energy than a fixed flat system. And that means that you get more energy from the system than when you have a flat system. The other purpose of this system is to meet the energy demand. At the moment, I think we are giving the hospital about 70 or 80%. It's not 24/7 energy need at the moment, because we want to do it in phases. This is phase 1. The second phase will come, which will be smaller, and that will definitely meet the whole hospital energy demand.
Another of these up-and-coming high-tech companies is the Swegam Company, who won the contract to upgrade the facilities of a number of villages throughout the country. The chief executive of the Swegam Company is Ibrahim Kool.
Swegam, actually, when you look at it, it's Sweden, Gambia. That's why I have Swegam. So, and basically it's a Swedish Gambian owned company. So 2 partners, one Swedish, one Gambian. It's fully technical and established since 1991 in the Gambia. We have a small office in Sweden, but we also have a branch office in Freetown. Currently we have a total of 26 staff, fully employed permanent staff, a technical team, sales staff, marketing team as well. We are mainly doing technical installation, so we import, install, service, offer after-sales service also for all the equipment that we sell.
And it's solar equipment mostly, or mainly? Exclusively?
Not exclusively solar. Presently on the water pumping side is exclusive electricity, but we're actually now moving, let's say 50-50. 50% mainly solar, 50% electric.
Okay. Now we are interested in Swegam from the point of view of the rural water supply program. And we understand that your company has been chosen to install or to do the upgrading of certain solar pumping sites around the country. Can you tell us what kind of scope does this upgrading entail?
Well, the upgrading actually covers a total of 9 villages, let's say 9 towns and villages. That Pirang is one of them. Pirang is one of the biggest. Pirang and Dibakunda are the biggest, with a total generating capacity of about 132 cubic meters. So we are moving them from 72 cubic meters per day to 132 cubic meters. Then you have Kiti, you have Nyoro Jataba. Then on the north bank you have Dibakunda, you have Barajali, and then you have Birkamaba, Medinamfali, and in the URR you have Kumbija. These are the 9 villages and towns that we are actually upgrading. So what we are actually doing is to dismantle the old system totally and then come in with new systems.
An ever-present threat to the viability of the water systems in the communities is the frequent theft of solar installations, particularly the panels that collect energy from the sun. The existence of a lucrative market for stolen panels makes security a major concern for all communities. The concern is being vigorously addressed both through the increased commitment of the villagers and communities themselves to protect their installations, as well as through the incorporation of new system design features which make the theft of panels infinitely more difficult.
We've seen in some places, some villages in the country, that because of the rampant and frequent stealing of their panels, their systems have become incapacitated. And some of them have been waiting for years to have their systems rehabilitated. Are you considering any measures to reduce the incidence of theft around the country?
Yes, I think that's a very important point regarding the water supply installations. So this time around, you'll find out that the Department of Water Resources actually came up with certain points that need to be actually put in place, that security-wise. So that's why this time we're coming up with concrete beams instead of metal, because we've seen that in most other places, if they cannot remove the panels, what they do is to cut off the structures and then move a whole row. But now we're coming in with concrete beams, and then the structures themselves are U-section structures. So instead of the panels laying on top of the structure, bolt and nut, we're now slotting them in. And you can see that all of them are interconnected. So whoever wants to take this system away, you really have to take from that end right to the other end away completely, which is almost impossible. And you can see we're also using these security bolts. They come in with a hexagon like that, and then after tightening them, you get them in this shape. So it will be difficult for someone to come up with a spanner that will be able to actually remove this one. And the other important thing for at least people to know is all these panels actually having serial numbers. All the serial numbers are taken into consideration. So there are plans actually to add up chips into the systems, whereby if any panel disappears, you will be able to track it. So we actually working towards making it more and more difficult, so that at least the systems could be sustainable. Because among these 9 sites, for example, we found that Barajali, all their panels were stolen, not a single one, and that's for about 5 years now. They've not been having water, which is very bad.
Okay, so security is tighter now, and things have become more difficult for the team.
And also the Department of Water Resources have actually sensitized most of the villages. So quite apart from the security measures in place, most of the villages have actually gone ahead to build up watchman houses, security houses, and they will hire a watchman who will be staying there permanent. So double security. And we're also thinking of additional method of putting alarm systems or sensors which will just blow in either a horn or a light the moment somebody approaches 5 meters towards the system at night.
With the technology backup sector in very good shape and a number of companies with borehole sinking expertise comfortably established, Water Resources Department officials can concentrate fully on the task of provision of water to the communities. A mark of the spectacular success of the program in the villages and communities is the aversion of everybody to revert to the system of drawing water from unlined wells in the villages. Even in those communities forced to this situation, either through the theft of their solar panels or some other technical problems, there is a heightened sense of anticipation and expectation that the restoration of their systems may soon be realized. For those enjoying working systems, the aspirations have begun to broaden, and many hopes were expressed for the expansion of systems to serve new communities settled since the commissioning of the systems.
The number of taps in this village is not enough, because this is a large village. We draw water from morning to evening, and still not everybody is able to fetch the amount they want. There are those who live a long way away from the taps. They use animal-drawn carts to transport plastic containers of water back to their homes.
We asked the coordinator for his reaction to these aspirations from the communities for bigger and more outreaching systems.
Because of the success of these 2 phases, other donors are also interested in funding. So it's a question of other people seeing what EC had done, and they are also interested in coming in to also finance.
Okay, so overall, quite a bright prospect in the future, you would say.
Yes. And we all hope. Well, Brahma, we are all from the rural villages. And I think by giving them clean, potable water, we are empowering them, because the more they spend on medical bills, the more poorer they become, and the less they spend, they are able to take those extras into other things. So this is why we all pray that this becomes a success, and not only the 3rd phase, but the 4th, the 5th, and so on and so forth.